Whether you're like me and you hate making sides, or you're like me and you just love to have breakfast at supper time, boy have I got a treat today. We're going to scramble up some eggs with all kinds of stuff we found in the fridge. Today we got some smoked sausage, a couple jalapenos, a few leftover onions from the last project. We'll throw in a few more mushrooms. We might even chop up a few bell peppers and throw them in. This is going to be good. When I cut up the meat, I like to cut them in fairly thin slices. Makes them real easy to cook. Next, when I take out some mushrooms, what I like to do is just kind of crumple them up a little bit. You don't have to chop them really. They just come apart. Break them into smaller pieces. Put as many in as you like, or don't put any in all if you don't like. For the bell peppers, you see I like to cut them in nice bite-sized chunks. Makes them easier to cook, makes them easier to eat. Like any pepper, when you cut open a jalapeno, the best thing to do is pull all those seeds out. Wash it thoroughly before you add it. And you can go ahead and cut it into whatever size chunks that you like. And pretty soon we'll be ready to start the fire. The last major ingredient I'm going to put in this evening, other than the eggs, is a few onions. However, I'm going to let it get started a little bit before I throw those in. And once I get those going, next thing I'm going to do is start working on getting the eggs ready. Now the eggs are optional, but personally, I like eggs in my breakfast food, along with all of these other wonderful things. I'm just going to add some oil, and we'll get this over here and turned on a little bit of heat. If you've got finicky heaters in your house like I have, what you can do is you can actually scramble the eggs on the side and mix them in separately later. I'm a little more adventurous than that. I'm going to throw it all together because it's just me. But it's okay if you want to separate things. There are picky eaters, and some people don't want all the spice. Sometimes you got to be sweet. Tonight, though, we're going for the spice. Now, when it comes to cooking, I'm going to put a lid on this, trap the heat in there with all the juice, and we're just going to let it go at about half heat for probably 15 minutes or so. And at that point, whenever it starts to look like the vegetables are ready for it, I'll throw in the onions, give it about another 5 minutes, and then we'll add the egg. Now, just a word about spice. You know, I like adding spice to things because I just think it excites stuff. I'm going to add a little bit of onion powder because, well, I don't have a whole lot of onions to add. And I'm going to add garlic powder because I don't have any garlic to add, and I certainly would have added garlic. So, as the food comes along, I will mix these in as I mix the vegetables here on the next stir. Now, don't be afraid of your spices. That's what they're there for. You should smell that from here. I wanted to cook evenly, so I took it down a little bit, down to about 1/3 power on the stove. And it's coming along. It's been about 15 minutes. Time to open it up. Yeah. Pour in our onions. Okay, we're just going to stir these in a bit, and then we'll be putting the top back on. And in about 5 more minutes, we'll be throwing in the eggs. Now, whether you're a health fanatic or maybe you just don't want to have a heart attack before you get through eating supper, you might want to just strain off some of that oil before you go ahead and in the eggs. I'm just going to take this right over here to my colander strainer, and I'm going to strain out some of that oil. With that messy little task complete, I'm putting it back on the heat, and I'm pouring in the eggs. For the remainder of this time, I'm going to stay near the food. I'm going to leave the top off, and I'm going to stir periodically so nothing burns. And in about 5 minutes or so, I should be ready to eat. Now, this is what I call spicing up groceries. And I would say there was a recipe, but really, there wasn't. I just made it all up. That's a great thing. You can too. Just make it up. Yep. That's definitely worth making up. You got to try this. I use smoked sausage, a couple different kind of peppers. You saw what all I put in here. But make it any way you like. Just go ahead and make it. Now don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. And remember, if you can't be sweet, be spicy.